We're back to Neil Haley's show, and my guest today is comedian Felicia Madison. Felicia, thanks for stopping by. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
How did it all start for you with comedy? How did that? There was a what age did you know you'd be a comedian?
Oh God, at a much older age. I won't give you the exact number, but I always enjoyed telling jokes. You know, it was something that I used as like a social crutch in social situations. I was somewhat reserved, and I would always just listen to conversations, and then after people were done talking, I would make a joke, and they would laugh. And after years and years of doing this, I had a friend that did stand up, and I said, I want to give it a try. And I signed up for a class, and I just, from day one, just loved it. I literally, the first class, they said, get up and do 5 minutes without any preparation. And I basically took, like, years and years and years of telling jokes and put them together. And, and it was great. So it was my first 5 minutes was literally from that class. And what I always say, it was easy to put together the first 5 minutes, but then every week to put another five, that's difficult.
No, it's definitely is. And how
Yeah.
I'm a former performer. I am still a performer, I guess, as a talk show host, and I speak in stages. But ultimately, I was a former pro wrestler, so I had to deal with the whole process of performing. And how do you
Yeah.
prepare for a performance as a comedian? Because again, they can be really difficult. The crowd, it's not, yeah.
Yeah, usually we do so much. So what I was saying is usually people are always saying it's so difficult. How do you do that? And comedians are prepared. I mean, of course they're talented and they know, but we go on stage multiple times. We try out material multiple times. We've experienced probably every situation possible before we actually get on stage. So when you see someone that says, "Oh my God, he was in this situation and he was so quick," trust me, he's been in that situation before. That's like the secret behind stand up. So I remember when I first started out and I was looking for hosts, and I'm like, oh my God, I love this host. He's so amazing. He was so quick on his feet. And my friend's like, oh yeah, did he do this, this, that, and the other joke? And I'm like, yeah. So that's the secret behind it. That's the secret behind. I mean, of course they are quick. They don't, But if you're performing for like as many years as I have, you've pretty much seen every situation. But there are instances when there's a new one, and then you learn from it. When you have a heckler or you bomb, you examine the situation and you learn from it. So the next time it happens, it won't happen again. Just like anything else in life.
And you just got to keep going, right? That's
Got
it.
to keep going.
Got to keep going.
No fun bombing, but you got to. Someone said early on for me, you don't learn anything from killing it. You only learn from bombing.
So once you kind of took classes and said, I'm going to do this, this is my thing, I'm going to do it, kind of, where do you think how's your journey after that? Like the whole journey process of finally, being on stage to now having your own special, doing all these different things, kind of take us through that journey.
It was interesting because I didn't really go through the path that I wanted to. So what happened was, I started doing classes, and then in the beginning, you have to do what's called bringer shows. You'd have to like bring your friends to comedy clubs to get stage time. It's sort of like standard in New York City. And after a while, I live in a neighborhood far away from a lot of the clubs. The shows were late at night. My friends all had kids. So I started producing daytime comedy shows. It was called Laugh or Size, Come Laugh Your Ass Off. It was a lunchtime comedy show. And I did that for a few years, and then I brought it to this comedy club, and then I started doing my open mics at the comedy club, and then they ended up hiring me to be their new talent person because was doing such a great job of finding talent and producing shows. And then the booker left, and they asked me to be the booker. And then the person that ran the club and owned the club ended up moving to LA, so I ended up running the club. And so that's how I ended up like getting involved in the club side of the business. It sort of just snowballed. It wasn't really my objectives. I really just wanted to do stand up. But as an older woman, new in the business, like I always said, no one was looking for me. Everyone's looking for the young hot talent. So it gave me a platform to do my comedy and grow, and allowed me to work long enough and hard enough to produce my special, which I'm super excited about.
That's pretty cool. that you learned that back end of things. I remember it kind of in my minor league professional wrestling days where I did I promoted a couple shows, but I saw a lot of wrestlers that did that because then you build the relationships with the other promoters, the other wrestlers, same thing, other
Mhm.
comedians, and you get booked in other places. But it seems like for you, you're really creative in the end of creating uh, a performance, having a great comedy show, right? That's where you really have found your passion is, it sounds like.
Yeah, you know, it's funny when I was first starting out and I'd put together shows and a lot of my friends would come or other people would be there and I'd get off stage at the end of the show and they'd walk up to me and be like, "You're such a great producer." And I'm like, I did just come off stage. You have nothing to say about my comedy, right? But I've managed to do both, and I love both. A high functioning, I can think all the years of raising kids and being able to juggle lots of things and generally with lots of different personalities made me really qualified to do that. And the comedy has been great. I really have enjoyed doing both. People have say to me all the time when I started doing it, you can't do both. It's not, you'll never be able to do it. And the one thing my father taught me from a very young age is when people say you can't do it, he always used to say, watch me. And that's what I did.
Everyone wants to tell you what to do, but then you look at their resume and you're like, why are you giving me advice?
Yeah.
It's really true. Like you say, okay,
Yeah.
you can run your business. I have a successful business, a digital agency, and they're like, and I had all these ideas. I'm like, how much money have you made in business to give me advice? You could go ahead and tell me, give me some ideas because I'm open to learning, but ultimately I'm going to make the decision at the end of the day. And I didn't, and that was a long time ago. I didn't make the right decisions. I listened to other people versus really finding the experts, finding your tribe around you. And that's so key. And I think that you found that. But tell us the special's name. I love it. Better than sex. How did you come up with that? There's nothing
It
better
was
than sex. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll have to watch it and let me know if you think it's better than sex. But it was actually the original title. It was called 45 Years a Woman. It was the anniversary of my bat mitzvah. Don't do the math. And after I did my special, two things happened. One, everyone was tagging, on Instagram, better than sex, BTS, better than sex, um, because I have a joke about it. That's the tagline or punchline is better than sex. And then a friend of mine said, like, 45 years of woman, that's so boring. No one's going to watch that. You need a better title. So I put two and two together and I changed the title to Better Than Sex. And it was really great. I really loved it. I had this really great image of myself from a really long time ago that I never used, and it's like very sexy. And the only problem was when I started distributing flyers and leaving flyers places, I was like, people think this is porn. And I'm like, I was really upset about it, but then I'm like, hey, if they watch it, who cares?
Sometimes the name is what gets them there. All right. So tell us
Yeah.
about where people can check this out.
It's on YouTube, my YouTube channel, Felicia Madison Comedian. Go watch it through. I noticed that, I was saying, I just posted on Instagram that I have over 175,000 views, but I've noticed that the max time or the average time of viewing is 22 minutes. So I said, watch the other half, and then I'll have 300,000 views.
And it's just called promote, promote, promote. Get everyone.
Promote, but it's the hardest part of stand up
It's the
and of
hardest part of
any job.
marketing everywhere. Everyone says they can do marketing, but it's the hardest part of all of it. You got to put the time in. It's not like a magic wand and say, okay, I'm going to go and throw money at it. It's going to work. I'm going to throw this at it. And it's going to work. No, it takes time. It takes a lot of work and congratulations so far on what you're doing.
Yeah,
Best place.
I was super frustrated, especially with Instagram. I was like, I'm giving up. And then one of the jokes that I posted actually went viral, and I have over 3 million views. So I'm like, Instagram does work if it's good quality stuff. It was really great. But it went viral, and I'm still here.
Storytelling. You're a great storyteller. Tell your
Thank you.
story. Jump on social media constantly, as Gary Vee says, just create content. My tip for you is just jump on stories and see how they perform on all the story platforms. And then once you figure out what's performing, then you go ahead and post it on your platforms and it should do really well. Okay.
Yeah, well, I always used to say, I just like to throw stuff shit against the wall and see what sticks. And the problem is I'm just looking at a really shitty wall right now.
Do it. You can
Everything's
do it.
sticking, but nothing's growing out of it yet.
You're gonna get there. Well, best place people can
Okay.
find you again? Tell us how
What?
best place people can find info on you. Where can they go?
Oh, Felicia Madison comedian on Instagram and YouTube, and also I have a website, Felicia Madison, and also at Westside Comedy Club.
All right. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. You're listening and watching the Neil Haley Show. And we'll be back in just a moment.